you think that you could love me too? Supposing I should hold you and caress you, would it impress you or distress you? Supposing I should say for you I yearn, would you think I'm speaking out of turn? And supposing I declare it, would you take my love and share it? I'm not supposing I'm in love with you. Supposing I should fall in love with you, do you think that you could love me?
I'm enjoying this a lot, but we have to fade it because it's Ask or Tell Me Anything. And the number to call if you want to ask or tell me anything is 888-720-9677. 888-720-WNPR. Have I ever sneezed on the radio? I've been doing radio shows for, I hate to even think about it now, but it's like 33 years or something. And I don't think I've ever sneezed on the radio, but I've got like, you know, when you got like about 15% of a sneeze starting inside your nose? It's not, you're not going to sneeze right away, but there's a premonition. There's a foretelling. All right, we're going to go. Okay, that mouse, that's not the mouse that goes with this tablet. That's fine. Touchpad works. Let's try this. Let's try Ask or Tell Me Anything, and let's try it with La Rosa, who is driving, and let's see when you're there. There's La Rosa. Hi, you're on the air. Or you're not.
Right now in Wallingford, driving home from the train station in New Haven.
Yeah?
Yes. Dropping my wife off. She's a professor in New York, political science. So we got to watch most of the despicable, I don't know if anybody could be more deplorable than El Supremo, but I want to make a point, and I wasn't really going to call today, but you mentioned Al Green.
Yeah.
So I think what he did was an incredibly appropriate act, and as I saw him do that, and I watched more of the show. There's a word before that, but I'm not saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I watched it, the more I thought to myself, I think that every time he told a lie, and I think there were enough Congress people in there, Democrats, somebody should have just gotten up, walked out, which I know would have probably triggered him more, but could he have been more boorish and ill-mannered than calling out these people and all of that nonsense that he did? So that's all I had to say, and if you want to riff on that, I would.
Well, I mean, one question I have is, like, you know, I mean, of course, this is Al Green's second year of getting kicked out.
Yeah.
And in a way, I could see that becoming a really nice tradition. I mean, I'm wondering even, let's say he's still in office in 29. Well, actually, there wouldn't be a State of the Union address, I guess, technically, until 2030. But, you know, what if the Josh Shapiro is the president or something? Was he going to keep getting kicked out just because, like, people really look forward to it? And my other question about it is where does he go? You know, because, like, my guess is he didn't go to the Chris Murphy outdoor party or whatever that was. You know, I don't think he went to the people who didn't go and they were set up there doing their thing. My guess is he just either goes home or goes someplace cool, goes to like his favorite bar or something. When you think about it, it's not a bad strategy. You don't have to sit there for an hour and 48 minutes. You know, you get kicked out early. You make your point. And yeah, I would agree with you that the point that he made, it was not a bad thing for that particular chicken to come home to roost on Trump's head. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. The thing is, like, how many times can you do it before it starts to seem like a formality? It's like, okay, how's Al going to get kicked out tonight? You know, but for now, I think it could be a nice tradition.
How does Kenny die? Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly. That's right. Oh my God! They kicked out Al again. Did you have anything else you wanted to say on the? Is this something about?
Well,
music
I do want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think the greater point of that was that I think the Democrats had an awesome chance last night that every time he told a lie, they didn't have to get kicked out. I think they can voluntarily just walk out. I don't think they're imprisoned. And as they leave, they could just smile at the president as he tried to smirk at them. And then the point would get across. That's really all I have.
Or they could have done the thing. They could get up to walk out, and you know the thing where you your index finger and your middle finger, and you point them at your own eyes, and then you point them at someone else. I think they could do that at Trump. They get up, they point at their own eyes with the two fingers, and then they point at Trump. I'm not. I guess that means I see you. I don't know exactly why. Why do people do that? To indicate, maybe they indicate the commonality of human beings that each of us have. For the most part, each of us have two eyes. Did you want to say something about music? It says something here on your.
Oh well, yes, because I've told you this before. Actually, I saw your Run Run Reindeer, but also with the Dionne Warwick thing that did it, and a couple of other things. One that happened a few weeks ago, and I said, oh, now here's another person that I like. I can't remember the detail. I do want to leave you with one last thought, though.
Okay.
The phone lady there asked me to spell my name. I thought she meant my last name. You called me LaRosa. That's perfectly fine because I'm really a stage hypnotist, you know.
Oh.
And yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I'm in the band Coconuts too, and you have an open invitation to come and play with our.
What happened? Has he been cut off? He may have hypnotized himself. He's gone. LaRosa is gone. All right. Well, I mean, I have an open invitation to do something. I was interested in the hypnotism part. All right. We have to move on, I guess. The number is 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. Let's go to Eric. Eric in Cheshire. Hi, Eric. You're on the air. You have the floor.
Yeah, just for your information, I'm of Swedish ancestry.
So I wonder if this counts. Like how far back do we have to go till we get somebody who's hanging out in Uppsala or something?
Well, anyway, I'm calling about a comment that Trump made during his State of the Union address about. Are winning so much that we don't want to win anymore? Was that what
he said? He said that people come up to him and they say, please, 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 Mr. President, we're not used to this winning. We are winning so much we can't even be winning anymore because we win so much and we didn't used to win. We were losing. And then now we're just like, first of all, nobody goes up to him and says that. No one, it's not that. Not only do people not do that all the time, no one has done that. No one has gone up to him and said anything like that. Please, please stop all the winning because we can't stand the winning, but we love the winning too. No one has said that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, when I heard that, I kind of reacted by wondering whether I could take any more of our national winning streaks.
Yeah.
And that maybe I need to start singing the Deacon Blues once I've memorized the lyrics.
Well, yeah, they have a name for the winners in the world. You got a name when you lose.
Yeah. Well, whenever I hear him talk about winners and losers, I know I get turned off, Colin, and I guess it has to do with my past having had a mental illness and because of that, not being able to keep up with my peers when it came to socioeconomic achievement. So, for much of my adult life, I felt like a loser, and a loser in life, so to speak. But now that I've gotten into my 60s and I'm on Social Security, I'm on Medicare, and then in public housing, which has been a real godsend. I don't feel quite that way anymore, and that most of my peers in my high school class, that all of my peers in my high school class of 78 have gotten older. We're all 66 or 67 years of age. And I would say I'm among the few members of that class that is even recognizable at my age. So I guess all things. Well,
let me just say something serious to you, Eric, because you call the show a lot. And I don't know you, but you call the show a lot. I didn't think you were ever a loser, and I think one of the things that that demarcates you, one of the things that makes you who you are, is you have a lot of interests that you're genuinely passionate about, and you're kind of living right there with your interests. They're not necessarily things that anybody would automatically agree is like what the cool people are doing, but the coolest people don't care. The coolest people do what they want to do. If they like bird watching, if they're interested in spiders, that's what they do. And so I think, ultimately at the end of the road, and maybe I'm just consoling myself while I'm consoling you, we get defined when we reach this time in our life a lot by how fruitful a life has it been? Have we actually been able to be the person we wanted to be? Or did we let ourselves get defined and manipulated by bullies like the President of the United States? And you haven't done that. I mean, I don't know your whole life, but I mean, you seem like you're interested in what you're interested in and you're not apologetic about it. And to me, that's winning. That's winning when you just do the stuff you really like to do and you don't worry too much about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. Well, Colin, I say this because, before getting into public housing and getting the Social Security disability benefits, I felt like a loser, in life because I wasn't keeping up, again, with the achievements of my peers. I didn't have the full-time job with benefits, with health insurance benefits, which is another thing, which I think for a lot of people, the affordability issue is not anything recent. That's gone on for at least the past 40 years or so, especially when it comes to things like health insurance and housing. And of course, unless one gets a full-time job with benefits, he or she is pretty much weeded out or excluded from receiving employer-based health insurance, and therefore has to shop for his own personal insurance. So this is an institutional kind of thing where a lot of people are being treated unjustly.
This is going to sound like a joke. I don't mean it as a joke. If your family had stayed in Sweden, some of these concerns that you're discussing right now would have disappeared, or they never would have appeared. I mean, Leo, there's a guy named Leo Canty, and he calls the show once in a while. And what Leo did, I think, sort of shortly after he retired, he and his wife went to all of the countries that are highest on the happiness indexes. There are these happy or indices. There are these things where they rate the happiness of various places. And of course, a lot of those places are, socialist democracies or whatever they want to call themselves, where, in fact, people don't have to worry about how they're going to pay for their kids' college because that's already under control, and they don't have to worry about how they're going to pay for health care. And so they can devote themselves to the things that they really care about, the things that are meaningful. First of all, I hear you. You're not a loser, you're a winner. And if you'd lived in Sweden the way your grandfather or great-grandfather did, some of this stuff never would have come along to bother you. All right, so what are we going to do? I think I can take one more call. And then the number, by the way, is 888-720-9677. If you would like to be affirmed, I think I just affirmed Eric. If you would like to be affirmed, please don't call here. No, actually, you can call. 888-720-9677. Call me right now and I'll affirm you. 888, I don't think that really is going to be a big lure. You know what I did one time? This is back when I was in my old radio job, and it turned out that we had a bunch of golf chairs that some sponsor had given us to give away or something on the air. And I, at that point, had started a religion on the air. The religion was called Everything is a Chicken. And the sole tenet of the religion was that everything is a chicken. And so I said to people that if they were willing to call up on the air and renounce their existing religion and swear fealty or whatever you swear to a religion, I would give them a golf chair. I mean, those golf chairs just flew out of the warehouse. It was like people, Catholicism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, whatever. Give me a golf chair, and I will forsake that, and I will believe going forward that everything is a chicken. All right, so actually, let's take Sarah, and then we get to Mitch on the other side if he still wants to talk about the radio station. But this is a very interesting topic, and it's actually one that we are going to be dealing with soon. It'll give me an opportunity to promote something. All right, so Sarah, you have the floor. Sarah from Manchester.
Hi, am I on?
You are on. You are so on.
Oh, my God. I'm so honored. No, I was going to ask if you guys were going to do a show on consciousness.
We have done
That's
some in the
kind
past.
of been the
We've
thing.
done some in the past. For a long time, it was a big interest, a big point of interest for me, and it's still something we are. So I'll tell you this first of all, but then I want to hear what you're thinking about it and why you're asking this question. But on Monday, April 6th, we will be down at the Yale Divinity School at 5:30. We're going to record a show with Christian Wyman, who is both a poet and somebody who has some very interesting thoughts about consciousness and how it might relate to faith and religion, and I'm doing a very poor job of explaining who he is because I'm not ready to do the show yet. It's not coming until April 6th. But anyway, I was reading David Brooks. David Brooks is talking about he thought Christian Wyman was one of the most interesting people that he'd read about this year, and what he said in that, I thought, oh well, I want to get to know Christian Wyman too. Anyway, for more information, or if you want to just show up, the tickets are free, but you have to register. So if you go to our kind of sub-website, ctpublic.org/Colin. You could reserve a seat at that thing. All right, back to you, Sarah. Why are you thinking about consciousness? And then I'll tell you some things that I think about it.
Well, I guess it was about 2019. I started meditating, and I had experiences with meditation that were, I guess profound and almost sort of outer body. And I became more interested in this idea of consciousness from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started reading, it just seems like it's everyone's talking about that right now. And I was saying Michael Pollan has a new book out that I started listening to this morning on audiobook, and it was so intriguing. I'm going to go to Barnes and Nobles and buy it this afternoon. So
right.
I'm kind of asking everybody.
Yeah, don't take things just because Michael Pollan takes them. Don't to make sure that.
No. I know.
Just because Michael Pollan says that psychedelic drugs are cool, that you don't get that peer pressure.
Did you read that book though?
I haven't read that book yet. No, but I mean I've been following Michael's.
You should listen to Michael Pollan.
I fully intend to. I interviewed Michael Pollan many years ago. He lives in Berkeley, and so I was in Berkeley, and I interviewed him at the original Peet's Coffee. There was a Peet's, that brand Peet's Coffee. There was an original one that's in Berkeley, and it's right near that cheese board collection or whatever the heck that is, and it's also very near Chez Panisse. It's the kind of epicenter of the modern Whole Foods, slow food kind of movement. And the best thing about that, it wasn't the best thing. The reason that Michael Pollan will always remember the day that I came and interviewed him is that while we were sitting there at Peet's Coffee talking, someone hit his parked car and totaled it. It was like, it was. But no, here's what.
Wait, is that interview available anyway? I would, because you guys kind of remind me of each other, and you probably will take offense at that. But I
think Michael Pollan's great, and he used to live here in Connecticut. He lived out in Cornwall, I think. I think Michael Pollan's great, and I think about Michael Pollan almost every day because at one point he did a whole thing about coffee. And I think it got turned into like maybe an audio essay or I can't remember what. But I was listening to it. And at one point he said, you know how you wake up in the morning and you really want some coffee? He said, you're in withdrawal. That's what's happening. You are in a mild state of withdrawal. And I thought, I understand my life so much better.
Well, wait, did he write that book, This Is Your Brain on Plants or something? I can't remember. I read a book years ago, and I think it was him. And
we could sit here all day guessing which books Michael Pollan did or did not write. But anyway,
what is consciousness? Is the question.
Right. So I just want to say this, and then we really do have to take a break. But so I've always been intrigued by consciousness because there are different warring schools of thought about this. Pamela Churchland would say that. The fact that there's no real biomedical explanation for consciousness just means they haven't figured it out yet. There will be an explanation. But the truth is there isn't really a way to explain why we have the sensation of consciousness and then consciousness, of course, allows us to process experience. We process it through consciousness. And it is one of the things that
It's not really measurable.
It's not measurable. I think one of the reasons that Christian Wyman is going to be very interesting to talk about that, because, if you are sort of saying people who are really checked out entirely about religion or spirituality or any level of mysticism or any kind of sense that the world as we know it is not all there is, and people back away from that. Consciousness is an interesting stumbling block there because we can't explain it, but it's the bedrock of our experience. And there's no real explanation as to how we do it, how we make it. Tom Stoppard has a play called The Hard Problem. I won't say where the play comes out, but it really wrestles with that very question. So, you had me at consciousness is, I guess, what I was saying. There's your headline, by the way. There's always somebody who has to come up with a headline for this. Right now, I think the leading contender for the headline is You Had Me at Consciousness. All right, we're going to take a break. Then we'll come back. We'll talk to Mitch. We'll talk to you if you call 888-720-9677. 888-720-WNPR. You better do that or I'm going to wind up talking, and nobody wants that to happen.
It's so easy. Easy love. It's a love affair. I know that it's true. Yes, it's easy to say my word there in my own again. Oh, no. Easy love. It's a love affair. I know that it's true. Yes, it's easy to say my word.
We're sending that one out to you, Eric. Don't beat yourself up. Actually, I'd already picked the song before that. This is Charlie Puth, right? We say Puth? Some part of me wants to say Puth. We don't usually play a lot of Charlie Puth or Puth on this show, but I kind of like that song, and it certainly has a nice message. All right, so I promised we would do Mitch, and so we're going to do Mitch, and then we got Kathy and Mystic, and you too, if you want to call up and say Ask or Tell Me Anything today, 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. And now I'm ready to talk to Mitch. Hi, Mitch.
Hey, Colin.
What's on your mind?
I just wanted to call in and give a shout out to Central Connecticut. Just has a really great non-commercial radio scene. We've got WNPR, obviously, WESU, WQTQ, WRTC, WWUH, all just really great radio stations. And I find that the local radio, it really, in this kind of uncertain, globalized world, it's a really great way to feel connected to your local community, to hear local talented DJs who are just really passionate and just do it because they love it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And of course, Ed McCune has been a longtime friend and supporter of this show. And he's, he and some of the other, as you say, the very, very passionate people on the board playing music all the time. And I think that stuff is, Susan Forbes Hanson would be another example of that. And, I when you say that, I feel a little bit bad because I think with the advent of podcasts and stuff like that, I used to listen to WWUH a lot. And I listen less now because I have too many choices. But I also know that, like, some of the cool kids here at WNPR, they like, is it, no, here, I'll go over here so they can type it out to me. Is it WFOR that you guys listen to? It's the Fordham, there's the Fordham radio station. That's the other thing, of course, you can listen to, I mean, if you're willing to stream, WFUV, I'm being told, WFUV. So the cool kids, including, I think, Lily Tyson Quality Entertainment Productions chairman, Lily Tyson, listen to that. So we have a lot of choices, but I hear you. You know, I worked in commercial radio for a long time. I worked at a complex where there were 4 different radio stations, but there wasn't a lot of variety. Despite having 4 radio stations under one roof, it didn't feel like there was a tremendous amount of variety. Okay, so let's go to Kathy, and then we'll go to Mike, and then we'll go to you if you call 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. Here we go with, in Mystic, Connecticut, we have Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
I'm ready.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I have noticed that we're getting very close to some kind of an armed conflict with Iran. And I've also been reading up on Reinhold Niebuhr and the theory of just war.
Yep.
And I wonder if the ultimate goal of any of this activity in the Near East is at all to reestablish peace. According to just war theory, the ultimate goal of a just war is to reestablish peace, and that the peace that's established after the war should be preferable to the peace that would have prevailed if the war had not been fought.
Yeah, I think, by the way, I think the originator, I don't know what Niebuhr says about this, but I think the originator of just war theory is really St. Augustine. I think that's where we first get those terms, jus or jus ad bello and jus in bello.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I don't see a just war basis here. Now, part of it is, I mean, it would be an easier conversation for the two of us to have if, in fact, the person who's in charge of all this had made any. I mean, here he had the State of the Union last night, and no real explanation. I mean, first of all, 90 minutes in before he even mentioned, or close to that, before he even mentioned Iran, and then the rationale for doing it, the likelihood of doing it. You know, I go back to the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The 2003, 2004. And, you know, you think about that and you think about what a fiasco that was. And you also think about how badly misled we were about the reason for going in there at all. And it actually smells a little bit like this set of reasons. Although, I mean, at least Colin Powell had to go out there and make a certain set of claims that turned out not to be true. And then all those guys did. And then Judith Miller from the New York Times got talked into it. And everybody just talked themselves in. But at that point, people were also traumatized still from 9/11. There's this idea for, wow, we got whacked. We're more vulnerable than we thought. We better do something about anybody else who could whack us. And there's also this is so easy because the American public doesn't understand geography or the existence of other countries very well. It was very easy to persuade people that Iraq had something to do with 9/11, which it emphatically did not. Now here, I don't understand, you know, and I ordinarily there would have to be kind of a Colin Powell moment where somebody would have to come forward and say, here's the exact reason why we have to do this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. And I just don't think this administration rolls that way. I don't think they feel any obligation to really lay it out. And now Powell laid it out and it was wrong. But at least he laid it out. I don't even know that we're going to get something like that. I think they're just going to, you know, we're going to turn on our television some night and stuff will be blowing up over there.
Yeah, and American lives put it at risk.
Yeah, and Iranian lives put at risk too. Most of the people in Iran do not enjoy living under that regime. You know, it's sort of like the United States that way, except it's even more, I think, probably lopsided. I don't think people enjoy living under that kind of a theocracy at all, which is why they have to be so tough on their own population. And you know, when the invasion of Iraq happened, there was an awful lot of talk about shock and awe and how little loss of life there was and stuff. There was a ton of loss of life. It just wasn't for the U.S. It was Iraqi people, and Iraqi people who weren't any more enthusiastic for the most part about Saddam Hussein. You know, somebody pays the price. It typically is because the waging of war has changed so much from the time of Augustine and of Reinhold Niebuhr, so that we are getting closer and closer to having these push-button wars that, the people who bear the brunt are almost never the attacking party, or it's a very, very light casualty dose compared to what happens to the country that gets attacked. And the country that gets attacked, the people who die are typically not the people who are causing the trouble in the first place. So maybe we need a whole new Just War book. Somebody needs to put a new one out. Could be you, Kathy.
No, not me, but I think maybe Chalmers, what was his name? Chalmers Johnson wrote some stories, wrote some books about the American Empire and so forth.
Okay, that's weird because David Chalmers wrote about consciousness. So it all ties together. Maybe this is a computer simulation. All right, thanks very much for your call, Kathy. Yeah, I hope we're going to have a real conversation about Iran before any of this happens. But this is not an administration that likes to have conversations about what they want to do. They just do it. I was saying this yesterday. There's the whole thing about, it's better or possibly easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. This administration doesn't do either one of those. They don't ask for permission and they don't ask for forgiveness. They just go on to the next thing. All right. So this is an interesting question by Kyle. I think we should go there. So let's do that. And there we go there. There's Kyle. Kyle from Glastonbury. Hi.
Hi. Good afternoon, Colin. How are you?
Just fine.
I just had a quick question about the State of the Union. I didn't really watch it. I was, afraid he might try to sell me a watch or something.
Mm-hmm.
But was there anything in the speech that you found unifying at all, or that people found unifying? It seemed to poll pretty well on CNN.
Yeah,
which I found surprising.
Well, first of all, I'll defer to other people who want to call in and weigh in on this at 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. No, I think the possibly unifying moment, and it's, a very symbolic one as opposed to a substantive one, was the thing with the hockey team. Although he managed to botch that as a unifying team way back right after the victory, where he talked to them, from their locker room with beer guzzling FBI director, and he dissed the women's hockey team. So right away, by the time the men's hockey team come walking down the stairs there, it isn't unifying. It isn't as unifying as it should have been, because he'd done this really stupid thing. But if there was a unifying, nobody was going to not clap for the men's hockey team, and everybody did. I can't really think of another moment there. So much of the speech, the preponderance of the speech, was really about division. It really was about, he really does talk about Democrats not simply as opponents or rivals, but as enemies. And so it's kind of hard to go from there. At one point he said of the Democrats, right there with a bunch of Democrats, not all of them, but a bunch of Democrats sitting there, he said their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. We're going to stop it. We have to stop it. Think about the fact that you're saying that. I can't think of another president who would have said something like that about the opposition party in the State of the Union address, which I think, as you're implying, typically does have calls for unity. No matter how divided we get, there's still some commonalities. But, imagine the president saying that. First of all, his policy is really unpopular right now. He's really unpopular right now. But that's, the way that he deals with that is to project it onto the opposition. But I don't think he's capable of looking at the Democrats as rivals with whom he can nonetheless make common cause. I don't think we're there anymore, but people may call in and differ with me. Any final thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, props aside, I was wondering if, there was a specific policy item that maybe suggested that he was having a change of
I can't think of anything that really fits that description. But yeah, there were the medals and stuff like that. You're getting a medal, and you're getting a medal. And people, the 100-year-old guy, people like that. But I don't know if props is entirely a fair way to describe them. I know what you mean by it. But people like that kind of stuff. And also nobody feels comfortable objecting to it. But no, I didn't hear anything else. I mean, certainly the overarching and overwhelming message of the speech was that we are not one country. There are people who like Donald Trump, and then there's everybody else. I mean, I really do think it's almost hard to parse that speech and not derive that as kind of a primary message. All right, we got Don from Greenwich. We got Mike from Woodbury. We got you if you want to call up 888-720-9677. It's flying by this show. Because we have so much winning on the show. That's why we have so much winning. And some people are calling up and saying, we really can't tolerate this winning anymore. It's getting to us. It's driving us crazy, the winning. But anyway, you can call up 888-720-9677. We'll take a little break. We'll talk to you after this.
Slow down, morning, you were born in a hurry ever since. But it's hard to pay attention, and you're easy to miss. You're there for me. You make prisms of the frozen weeds. You make rainbows on ice sheets, but it's hard to see.
Yo creo en muchas cosas que no he visto, y ustedes también, lo sé. No se puede negar la existencia de algo palpado, por más etéreo que sea. No hace falta exhibir una prueba de decencia de aquello que es tan verdadero. El único gesto es creer o no. Algunas veces hasta creer llorando. Se trata de un tema incompleto porque le falta respuesta. Respuesta que alguno de ustedes quizás le pueda dar.
¿Qué será, que anda suspirando por las alcobas, que se oye susurrando en versos de trova, que anda combinándonos preguntas locas, que anda en las cabezas, anda en las bocas, que anda ascendiendo por altos huecos, que están hablando alto en la bodega y grita en el mercado? ¿Qué cosa es esa? Es la naturaleza. Será, que no tiene certeza y nunca te da, que no tiene concepto y nunca tendrá, que no tiene tamaño. Oh, ¿qué será?
All right. See, now we've got it going on. It's like you'd think we were WFUV or something. All right, time to say some thank yous. We'll start with the maestro. Dylan Ray is our technical producer. And then Robin Doyen-Aiken is on phones today. She's our boss, but she's also the lovely person who talks to people on the phone when they call in. When they call 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. Jonathan McPants is the producer of this episode. Joe Koss and his Merry Pranksters are running the video feed on the YouTubes at the CT Public Channel. And special thanks to Megan Boone because I came in here. I feel bad about this, actually. It's like I came in here and there was a piece of equipment that wasn't set up. And I pretended I didn't know how to do it. I kind of pretended I didn't know how to do it. I mean, maybe I don't know how to do it. It's very possible that I don't know. But I didn't even try because I wanted someone else to do it for me. And so thank you, Megan, for doing that. I'm not proud of how I handled that. I feigned more helplessness. I mean, one of the just general latent understandings we have here is that I don't know how to do anything. And every once in a while, I'll make the point to someone that this is the only job in this whole building that I'm able to do. You couldn't rotate me out to any other job in this building and not have me mess it up. And whenever I say that to somebody, whoever it is that I'm saying it to does not ever contradict me. They just sort of look at me like, yeah, you're just getting that? Anyway, so that's all of that. And okay, so we've got some things to cover here, and they're very important. Or they're not, maybe. So let's start with Mike, because he's been waiting for a while. Mike in Woodbury. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Colin. So I don't know if you have seen this film clip.
I watched it during the break.
I mean, it is astounding.
This is an AI generated clip
right.
of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt having a fight. And it's also kind of funny because one of them saying is like, you killed the Epstein files or something. And then,
Right.
And Tom Cruise goes,
Right.
they knew too much about our Russian operations. It's all this big fight that they're having. But I think it also raises the question, like, who would win that fight in your opinion?
That's right. But the other amazing thing about this is you would think that, well, of course, it's animated, so it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
This guy, this Irish director named Rory Robinson, used Seed Dance 2, which is a technology created by, of course, China.
The people who gave us
the
TikTok.
China company ByteDance.
Yeah.
Right. And a 2-sentence. He just gave a 2-sentence prompt and hit the button. And it did this whole thing. I mean, and their voices, as you say. I mean, it's incredible. I actually used to be in the movie business. I'm retired now, thank God. Yeah. Because if I wasn't, I would think that everybody's career is over. I mean, that you can make a whole movie like this.
Well,
I guess
that's. I mean, I don't think that's true. I mean, I know people in the business are saying we're done, we're finished. What's left for us? I don't think that's true, and I think ultimately there is something that's recognizably humanity and something that's not, and I think we will crave the humanity. And the other thing is AI can only do so many things. Like, so AI can make Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt have a fight, which, by the way, Tom Cruise would win in real life. But what else can they do? Because AI, it has its limitations. I was just reading this piece today that they do these war simulations, and AI goes to some thermonuclear event like really fast. It just sort of reviews everything, goes, no, let's just wipe everything out. I don't think AI is subtle. I don't know if it ever will be subtle. I don't think AI could make the movie sentimental value. They could make Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise have a fight, but if you think about some of the movies that you've loved recently, and I loved Sentimental Value because of all of the way that it looked at the whole question of what it means to be human, how you feel about the place that you live, how you relate to your parents and your offspring. And I don't think, maybe it'll get there. I don't think AI can do it.
Well, yeah, but you could probably do a whole Marvel movie this way. That didn't have any of those emotions.
No, that's Kevin Feige's whole plan is to have 12-year-old people like run that whole franchise eventually, I'm sure. Well, thanks for your call, Mike. I want to move on here because there are people who want to talk about stuff. Here's Debbie in Glastonbury. Hi, Debbie. Whoop, maybe I didn't have you all the way up here. I'm dealing with a slightly different thing here. There, now you're on. Hi, Debbie.
How are you?
Just fine. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say I love your show, and I thought last night was horrible, and I watched for about 10 or 15 minutes. I thought the Olympic men's debacle, and that's how I look at it, it's a great accomplishment. They could have handled that so much better, in my humble opinion, and just said, we made a mistake, doing what they did with the women's team.
Yep.
But I felt like it was an ESPN announcement. It was way too long, and it was sad, but also scolding the Supreme Court, and it seemed threatening to me almost. And I just think we're in such bad shape, and it could have been so much better, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. Actually, there were only 4 justices there last night. Elena Kagan was one of them, which I find very intriguing. I'm like, why did she feel like she had to go? But I don't think compared to what he said about them on the day of that decision, I think what he said about the Supreme Court last night was his version of somewhat conciliatory. But there's sort of he starts at a different place from most of us. But thanks for your call, Debbie. Really appreciate it. We're going to try to get through a few more of these calls. We got Gail in Simsbury. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Callan. This is concerning your attempt to avoid sneezing,
which I probably have set some kind of record. It's been like 46 minutes have expired since I said I was going to sneeze. And
God, when you do, you're just going to blow your head out.
No, I'm not. I'm just not going to sneeze. I've willed it away. I have Jedi powers.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's not really oppressive Jedi powers. I don't think Obi-Wan Kenobi said, by the way, I can keep myself from sneezing. I think, you don't graduate from Jedi Academy. You have to be able to do more than that. Anyway, continue.
Well, that gives us something to try to attain.
Yeah.
Anyway, years ago in New London, I believe I'm telling this correctly, there was a court case where an accident occurred and the driver got off because he was able to prove that you cannot sneeze without closing your eyes.
Yep. I mean,
that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is the sneeze defense. I wonder how many other kinds of trouble you could get out of, just by claiming that you sneezed and there was nothing you could do about it. All right, let's go up to, we're speed dating right now. We're just going to go through this whole thing. We're going to get to as many people as we possibly can. So here is Rich in North Haven. Hi, Rich.
Hi there. I wanted to talk to you about consciousness first.
Yeah.
The Secret of Secrets, Dan Brown's new book. It's all about consciousness, specifically, without spoiling anything, universal consciousness, which is super intriguing, but kind of like hippy-dippy out there. But if you're into like some brain rot book read, that's a good one. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about was USA hockey. I'm a lifelong hockey player. Growing up, you're told about the Miracle on Ice in like hushed tones of a hockey player from the United States. Played on the Lake Placid ice, you can hear the ghost. It's like it's a really irreverent thing, and every kid who grows up here playing hockey wants to be on the next team to win the gold medal. And when the U.S. won, I almost put a hole through the ceiling when I jumped up, scared the pants off my 3-year-old. I was so excited. And just like that, division snatched from the jaws of unity with that locker room phone call.
Yeah.
And it was just awful to hear. And the USA chants, instead of like bringing me like joy and goosebumps, it brought me back instead to like January 6th.
Yeah, I feel bad for the hockey players too, and I've read now that I think one of their the mother of the two brothers, she's very involved with women's hockey, with the women's hockey team, and there's been quite a bit of unity, and I don't mean this in a salacious way, but a lot of fraternization between the two teams. I think they sort of were sharing quarters at one point, and they know each other, they like each other, and I think what you've got is the president of the United States saying this kind of crappy joke, and then everybody kind of laughing nervously because they don't want to tell the president of the United States that that's not appropriate right now. You know?
And it's tough with that kind of social pressure. You got Kash Patel in the room, and
who also
I understand.
He's a lifelong hockey player too.
Well,
I think he's usually the puck. Yeah, but anyway, go ahead.
I bet he never passed the puck. Yeah, I bet he was a puck hog. Anyway, that somebody called earlier asking about, was there any moment in the speech where there was mention of unity? And the Olympics as a tool for leaders of countries is the easiest to spark unity.
Kind of is.
and to have two gold medal teams, and to use a divisive remark to, instead of saying you guys are all great and proud of you Americans, to say no, you are better, and we'd rather celebrate you. It's just such a terrible take.
Yeah.
And I hope the world can think of hockey players as not jerks. If that makes sense.
No, I don't think it's their fault. But I think it's also a shame. I mean, what did we win? 8 gold medalists? The USA won, I think, 8. But, Alyssa Liu, how about people like that? By the way, our good friend Jimmy Webb did some kind of little video for her about her use of MacArthur Park. Well, I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, but I'm sure Jimmy was just tickled by all that. All right, I guess we have to stop. It's so bad. Douglas had a sneeze poem, and we were not going to get to use it. And Dawn from Greenwich wanted to recommend Little Bosses Everywhere, and we just didn't have time. But that's the beauty of the kind of winning that we have here on Ask or Tell Me Anything. It's like you just can't stand how much winning there is. All right, thanks for listening, and we will be back. We have more shows to do this week, and they're all going to be winning. Every show will win.
We're still here. We're still here. We'll sing our song as long as days go on. Let every sunrise bring our battle cry.